going to be non-GMO for their home brands. Ben & Jerry's by the end of the year. Chipotle's restaurant chain will be non-GMO. But this showdown in the aisles of Walmart and Safeway, to me, is the big domino. It's the huge domino. If you are representing another brand and another brand category, you watch what happens in Safeway and Walmart. You take a look and see, does the non-GMO labeled product start to erode the market share of the GMO-laden products? Because if it does, there is an all-out race to not let the competitor in your brand category be first and erode your market share. So this whole thing, remember what we started like years ago at the beginning of this lecture when you were still eating Kraft cookies? Remember what we said about how pivotal this technology is. Looking at a future that's genetically engineered or a future that's based on natural selection and sexual reproduction. Looking at a technology that can affect everyone who eats, all living beings, and all future generations. And it comes down to whether we buy more non-GMO Pop-Tarts or whatever it is versus the GMO Pop-Tarts, whether we buy a cereal. It actually does. This huge thing, the belly of the beast, United States, growing 60% of the GMOs, bullying the rest of the world to try and get GMOs, employing the State Department to bully all of the other countries. You can read the WikiLeaks report. All of this vast machinery to impose this dangerous technology, all of these incredible rising disease statistics, and the massive damage that can occur in the environment because of the self-propagating pollution of the gene pool, which is far worse than the health because it means we are gifting, so to speak, all future generations. All of that may come down to what happens this week or this month or as soon as this is announced. So our Institute for Responsible Technology, which has been, by the way, the main component in the concern about the health dangers in the United States. Because we have been characterizing, writing stories. If you go outside, you'll see Seeds of Deception, which is the right brain book, the story book. You'll see Genetic Roulette, which is the left brain book, the details. You'll see the movie Genetic Roulette, The Gamble of Our Lives, the best tool for convincing others, because in 90 minutes, virtually everyone has decided to make changes in their diet. Sometimes the entire cupboard is thrown out and completely replaced within minutes of watching the movie. We have brochures, we have other descriptions of how scientists who came forward with information have been attacked. We have developed the information or are representing others' information that we know has the behavior change messaging that we just saw how effective it can be. Because we just saw in this room, we have the points we need. Why? We know what the truth is. We tell the truth. People want to change. We have a speaker training program available online. We have a tipping point network you can sign up for. And if you put your email on the list, we'll send you our newsletter free. And you can go to the website and sign up to become part of a community of activists in this area or anywhere in the country. And we'll have petitions for you to sign, and we'll have new information. But most importantly, we are undergoing now a massive education campaign, accompanied with a massive fundraising campaign. This week, Natural News is matching donations. Last week it was Mercola. The week before it was Nutiva. We are looking for a fund to hire and deploy people who can reach out to each of these targeted demographic groups, to doctors, to the sick people, to the religious people, to the moms, to the pet owners, to the horse owners. And we are going to create videos. We've already started that. I reviewed a video this morning for moms. Another one for pet owners is next week. We want to get writers. We want to create the viral videos, the mid-length videos, the sequel to Genetic Roulette. We are on fire right now because in my 17 years working on this issue, I have never seen a more important window in the history of anti-GMO activism as what's about to come up when the non-GMO label is placed in the aisles of Walmart and Starbucks. in Walmart's and Safeway. These are the days. On the one hand, Monsanto and its friends want to introduce genetically modified apples, mosquitoes, salmon, everything else. On the other hand, we're here to say no. And we don't have to get a bailout from the Obama administration to do it. Now, another series of campaigns is occurring in parallel, supported by this, and that is labeling. When people are learning about the dangers of GMOs, naturally they want what the people in 64 other countries already enjoy, labeling. So the same motivation to avoid GMOs resulting from this knowledge is pushing that. And a conditional labeling bill was passed in Connecticut and Maine that needs some more states to pass before it becomes law. Washington State has a ballot initiative, which we hope will pass. Now, if you look at the mechanics of the pro-GM Obama administration, they may come along after it passes in Washington and say, well, we see that there's a need for labeling, but we don't want a patchwork of different rules so that the food industry has to go over this hurdle for Connecticut and that hurdle for Maine. So we're going to preempt, eliminate, block any state's ability to create GMO labeling laws. And we'll do it ourselves. And we'll have a stakeholder consultation period of some many years, perhaps. So they're going to delay it, and then they're eventually going to come up with something, we think. And it depends on the power of who's at the negotiating table. Now, there's the biotech industry, there's consumers. If it were just those two, we would lose. Then there's the food manufacturers. If by the time this negotiating table is convened, the food manufacturers have kicked out GMOs, why would they be against labeling? In fact, if some haven't kicked out GMOs, those that have may want labeling for the competitive advantage. So even for the labeling, to actually get a national labeling bill that has teeth, this battle for market share in the aisles of Walmart and Safeway is critical. I am in favor of supporting the labeling campaigns, especially when the behavior change messaging of how dangerous GMOs are and how unreliable and lack of credibility we have for the FDA and Monsanto. If that information gets conveyed in a political coverage area, then it actually accelerates all that we're talking about. So we're also working to support labeling through our IRT Food Policy Fund. So, of course, you're welcome to make a donation. Of course, you're welcome to become a volunteer. Of course, you're welcome to become a click and send revolutionary, taking our emails and posting them. How many people have a Facebook page? How many people have an email address book? How many people know anyone else? Okay, so we're all networked, and people trust you because you've been through a lecture that they haven't been. And if you're changing your diet and you want them to know because you care about them, they will listen. And then, if they need any more encouragement, the first tool to deploy is the movie Genetic Roulette, The Gamble of Our Lives. And if they're readers, then Seeds of Deception. If they're scientists, then Genetic Roulette, the book, and whatever works. So those are out there for you, for the tools to help you create a tipping point with us. So, as I close, I want us to think, again, as we thought in the beginning, because we brought it down to such a small level. You know, sales of whatever. We don't even know the company that's going to introduce it. But I want us to think big at the end. I want us to think about all future generations. Our children, our children's children, their great-great-grandchildren. I want to think about all the plants, the gene pool of the plants. I want us to think about gut bacteria, of soil bacteria, any excuse. This is an opportunity to be their champion. This is an opportunity to support and celebrate them. And